Do you ever look at your silver stack and think to yourself that you started stacking too late, or that you should have started stacking silver earlier? Well, I'm here to tell you that it is certainly not too late to get into stacking silver. And by the way, the reason that I'm even posing this question to you is I get comments like this on my channel all the time from people that think it is too late to get into silver, or they wish it would have started earlier. I'm here to tell you that not only is it too late, but now actually might be a better time to start than a lot of times in our recent history. And I don't mean 20, 30 years. I mean in the last 10 to 12. I mean, let's go back to 2010, 2011, when silver spiked to almost $50 an ounce. Do you think it would have been better to start stacking silver in 2011 when silver was $50 an ounce versus today? Absolutely not. Let's go back just to the beginning of the silver squeeze when Silver Eagle premiums were double spot. Silver was like $21 an ounce, and the premium on a Silver Eagle was $21. You were paying $42 for 1 ounce of silver. Do you think, even with silver rounds, which were $6 or $7 over an ounce over spot, do you think then would have been a better time than now? No. Neither of those times would have been better than now. In fact, if you even go back to pre-2011 and you look at the spot price and you see silver was trading in the 17s and 18s, which is certainly lower than it is today, would it have been a better time back then to start stacking than it is today? Probably not. I'm going to show you what I mean by that. Take a look at this chart. We are looking at the silver price history going back to 2010. Now take a look at this. Before we had this massive spike that I just talked about in 2011, and it hung up in the 20s and 30s for a while after that. I mean, we're in 2013 and we're still around $30 an ounce, right? Besides little dips here and there. If you even talk about before this happened right here, 2010, we had silver at $18 an ounce. That is cheaper than today, but is it? Think about this, $18.62 in June of 2010. Let's take a look what that looks like on an inflation calculator. Let's go, 1862. We'll switch to June of 2010. Today has the same buying power as $26.11. Actually, that's really scary to think about. To think about just 13 years ago, $18.62 was like $26.11 today. Man, inflation is crazy. But think about that. Going back, when silver was trading in the 18s, 26 is certainly higher than it is today. We have silver's trading at 23.13. And while premiums were kind of high right here, they weren't near as high as what they got to in this area. They were definitely a little bit high though. And they are certainly not as high as they were here at the beginning of the silver squeeze. Remember February 2021, we had the beginning of the silver squeeze, and that, skyrocketed silver premiums. I mean, I already said this, but Silver Eagles trading for $20 an ounce over spot for Silver Eagles. None of this would have been a better time to buy. Now, you could argue that maybe if you would have started buying here in 2015, it would have been a better time. Maybe here in 2018, it would have been a better time. If you would have caught the bottom at the beginning of the pandemic at 1255, that would have been a better time. But let me be honest with you. If you guys weren't around for this, if you were just started stacking, let's say the last couple of years, and you see this little dip to 1255, if you think for a second that anybody was selling at that price, you would be absolutely wrong. That was 100% the paper price. Nobody, and I mean nobody, was selling physical silver anywhere close to that. In reality, silver was still selling for $4 or $5 an ounce over spot of what it was before here. And I think rounds were a little bit cheaper, but it wasn't, again, until February 2021 when we really saw the silver squeeze hit. But you get my point. My point is no one was selling it at 1255. It just was not happening. So that's what I mean when I say it is certainly not too late to buy silver. Yeah, you may have had a couple of years in the last 10, 12 years where silver would have been a better buy than it is today. But in reality, especially with premiums finally coming down, we're starting to see rounds under $3. In fact, we've started to see specials on rounds, like in other words, sales on silver rounds for around $2 an ounce over spot. That, on top of the fact that silver is only trading for 23 in today's dollars, is really not a bad sign. Now, many of you are going to say, because I get a lot of naysayers and haters about stacking silver, that silver is a bad investment. And let me tell you something. If you are investing in silver with the word investing in mind, you are correct. I've said this before in many videos. Some people are going to say that I'm saying the same thing I said, 2 months ago. And you'd be right. I do repeat some of the same stuff in my videos from time to time. And that's because I get a lot of new viewers. Right now, we are sitting at like 156,000 subscribers. 2 months ago, I was at 130. So yeah, I have a lot of new viewers, and sometimes I'm going to say the same thing. And if you don't want to hear me say the same thing twice, I do apologize, but I'm trying to talk to everybody here. But yes, silver is not a very good investment. Silver is considered to be a way to protect your money against a possibly collapsing dollar. Now, I am not a doomsdayer, and I am certainly not an alarmist. I'm not one of the people that go out there and say, oh my God, silver's going to go to $200 an ounce tomorrow. Buy, holy smokes. If you don't have it, we're all dead. I don't do that, guys, and you know that. I am definitely a realist when it comes to silver. I realize that there's not a huge chance that silver really absolutely skyrockets to $100 or $200 an ounce. The chance of you becoming a millionaire because you stacked a lot of silver like it was GameStop, like it was AMC, like it was Bitcoin is not going to happen. The real reason that we have silver is so that we have real money in case our dollar ever does actually collapse. Now, whether that comes through its loss as a world's reserve currency or through a new BRICS currency taking over, which I'm not a huge believer in. I'm just going to be honest. And if you guys are, that's fine. I'm not knocking what people believe. I mean, we all are on the same side here. It's just some people believe it for different reasons than I do, and that's totally fine. I'm not saying that it can't happen. I'm just not a believer that it will happen, is what I'm saying, by the way. But anyway, getting back, whether our dollar collapses through its loss as a reserve currency or through that, or because people just lose faith in the dollar because the government continues to spend it into oblivion, to print it into oblivion, people lose faith in our dollar, and the dollar becomes worth half of what it is tomorrow. Let me explain this to you if you guys are a new stacker. Let me just put this in very layman terms, and we're going to use made-up spot prices right now just to make it easier to think about. Let's say our dollar today, where the dollar index today is what it is today, and with the dollar index today, whatever it is, made-up number, it doesn't matter. It could be whatever. This silver bar right here is worth $200. Now, let's say tomorrow we wake up and our dollar index, the strength of our dollar, cuts in half overnight. This silver bar is now worth $400. Now, it's not that this silver bar is worth $400 of the day before's numbers, when the dollar index was stronger. No, it's just that the dollar has decreased in value, that it now takes $400 to buy this bar than $2. In reality, this silver bar is still worth in trade for goods and services what it was the day before. It's just that the dollar is not worth in goods and trades and services what it was the day before. And so for that reason, it takes more dollars to buy silver. Now, when you see price changes, spot price changes on the dollar index and on trading, right? So if you actually go and look at spot price, you can actually see that sometimes spot price changes because of trades in the market, the paper market, the COMEX. And sometimes the value of silver decreases or increases based on the dollar index specifically without any trading going on at all. Now, when you walk into a Walmart, if our dollar cut in half overnight, you're probably not going to see that instantly be reflected in Walmart the next morning, but you will see it instantly be reflected and in silver and gold, because silver and gold very much follow the dollar index with their value. So if we were to get into a scenario where our dollar is worth less tomorrow than it is today, silver will be worth more. But it won't be worth more. It will just be worth more dollars because dollars are worth less. I hope that I explained that in the easiest terms possible for you to understand. And if I didn't, feel free to leave a comment down below and I'll try and answer that question, or I'm sure someone else will chime in and answer it for you as well. But that's why we stack silver. We don't stack. There's a million different reasons, a million different things I should say that you could have invested in over the last 10, 15 years that would have made you so much more money than silver. I mean, obviously you could have gotten to GameStop, you could have gotten AMC. You didn't know those things were going to happen, but you could have. You could have invested in Tesla. I've been an investor in Tesla for a number of years, for example. And there's a number of other stocks as well that you could have absolutely invested in and made a lot more money than stacking silver. But stacking silver is here because it's real money. And when the value of our real money lowers, the value of silver skyrockets because silver is real money. And I believe that silver and gold is something that you will want to have if we ever do get into that situation. Now, I've said this before, and I've already said that I sound like a broken record to some of you guys, so I apologize for saying it again. But for the new viewers that are hearing this for the first time today, I want to tell you that I don't think we're probably going to get there. I mean, I could be wrong. And obviously, I believe that I could be wrong, which is why I believe in silver. But I'm very hopeful. I guess maybe maybe saying I don't believe isn't right. Maybe saying that I'm hopeful that we never get there is right, because I do see a lot of comments from people that say that they're hopeful that that happens, but I'm really not hopeful that it happens. I mean, let's be honest, like, this is the super smallish niche on YouTube. I mean, it's not the smallest, but it's really small niche on YouTube, because there's not a lot of people interested in precious metals. They can't buy their new iPhones with precious metals because Apple doesn't accept silver, so they don't care. You know, that's just one example, but you get my point. So there's not a whole lot of people interested in this. So if we ever do get into a situation where our dollar is worthless, there's going to be a lot of people hurting. I mean, there's going to be a lot of people that aren't going to be able to afford to pay their rent, their mortgage, not going to be able to buy food, gas for their car, get to work, whatever it may be, if they even have a job in that situation. So I don't want that to happen. I really don't. I don't want people to be hurting. I don't want to live in a world where that happens. I don't want to see that happen to other people, because even though there are a lot of bad humans out there, I believe overall humanity is good, and I see a lot of good in people, and I just don't want that to happen to good people. So I don't know. That's just kind of my thoughts. And I know I got kind of off on a ramble, which I always do in these top-down videos where I'm just talking instead of, going over technical charts. Guys, if you want to see videos where I do like super technical charts and looking over history and things like that in more detail than I've done today, I promise you I do them all the time. So don't forget to subscribe. I've done spreadsheets showing what premiums are doing, so on and so forth. But whenever I do videos like this, I kind of get off on a rant. I get off on a tangent, and it's just a chat between me and you. And that's what it was today. So do me a favor. Let me know what you thought about this video. Let me know what you thought. Do you think that it's too late to get into silver? Because I really don't think it is. I think it is actually quite the good time to get into silver, given that premiums are coming down and spot price is still relatively low. And I don't know. You let me know, though. I would love to know your thoughts. Leave a comment down below. Don't forget to like and subscribe, like I already said. I'm going to put a video up above this if you want to see that one, if you haven't seen it yet. I'm sure it's a great one. And you know what, guys? I really appreciate you watching. We will see you in the very next video, and have a great rest of your day.